Today we'll be cooking some basmati rice. Here's the example of the finished product. I put a little bit of garnish with a little bit of parsley on it, but the main important thing to remember is always it should take only about 20 minutes once you start boiling the water into the rice. These are the items you're going to need to make the basmati rice, or also known as a Mediterranean rice. You could also use another type of rice, maybe there's another couple of other ones that you can use. But the main one they use is basmati. We'll be needing, you can see, 1.5 cups of rice, the basmati rice, 2 cloves of garlic, half a shallot. You can see it looks basically like a small onion or even a garlic, but it's actually like more like a sweet onion, purple onion. We need half a clove of basically of a shallot. We have some extra virgin olive oil, some kosher salt. Also, the main ingredient that's actually going to make the rice turn that special color that you guys are used to when you go to the restaurant is the saffron. You can see it closely. It's basically little red hairs. Basically, it comes from an actual flower. It's basically the little pistils from it. You can look at it. All they look like little hairs. All you're going to need is about a pinch, especially if you get the Spanish type, a very high grade type of saffron. The Spanish type. If you get some other type, maybe from a little lesser grade, you may have to actually use 2 pinches of saffron. But for our own meal here, we're only going to need 1 pinch, and we're also going to also need the mortar and pestle to actually crush that saffron into a powder form. We'll show that later, and we'll actually need a strainer. We'll have to soak the instructions in the basmati rice is to soak the water, soak the basmati rice in warm water for about 15 minutes, and then we'll strain it, and then we'll actually boil and cook that. You can see the rice has already been soaking for about 15 minutes in warm water. We boiled the water, but then we let it cool down for about 5 minutes and then dump the rice into it, and we let it soak. You could stir it every couple of minutes. As you can see, the starch starts removing, coming off the rice, and that's what you want, because that's going to actually make the rice nice and fluffy. You don't want that starch in there, too much of it. So now we're going to go ahead and strain it. So we're going to go ahead and strain this now. Let's strain it here. Got some stuck here, so what I'll do is I'll get a little bit of water. Rinse it off. Alright, remove that. We'll let that soak, let it dry up for about maybe 10 minutes. Now that we got the rice pretty dry, it doesn't have to be all the way dry. You can see I rinsed it a little bit more, maybe with a little bit of cold water or warm water, just to make sure I get all the starch, most starch I can get out. While that's maybe a little bit drying, I gotta cut up a little bit of the cloves of garlic and the shallots. I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now real quick. Try to get these kind of small because you don't want to taste them. I'm gonna try to cut those up as best you can. Cut these up. While I'm cutting this up, I need to get the oil to start heating up. Okay, we just got to turn it on about medium heat. I put about 1 large tablespoon of olive oil. Just needs enough to cover the bottom of the frying pan, and we're just gonna let that warm up a little bit, and we'll come in over here and put back the garlic and the shallots. So now that I cut a little bit of, I finally chopped up the garlic, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the shallots. It's about 1.5 pieces of a shallot, not too much. You want some, because you don't want to overpower the rice. So you already got the finely chopped garlic and the finely chopped shallots right here. I'm going to go where the oil's already heated up. Just make sure it's nice and coated evenly. See, it's about 2 tablespoons or so. I'm going to dump this off. We could caramelize it a little bit. It's just a medium heat. Just going to caramelize it a little bit. Still frying it up a little bit. I'm just evenly coating all the rice up with a little bit of oil, just a light fry. You're not light heat. You don't want it too much. I transferred the saffron here onto the mortar and pestle. I'm gonna go ahead and start crushing it. But see how it starts turning to powder. Usually, if it doesn't turn, if it's still really fresh saffron, I'll put a little bit of pinch of kosher salt, and that'll actually help me crush it a little bit more. Since I need a little bit of salt on the rice, I'm gonna go ahead and use that anyway. You can see I'm crushing it all up, turning to powder. So it's gonna not. You can actually probably not even get away with not actually turning to powder. It'll still give it some color. Just turn in the little, put the little spice, actual little hairs onto the rice water, boiling water. So this is good. Get the best you can. Add in a low heat. You can see it's not quite browned yet. That's fine. We just wanted enough just to toast it a little bit. So now we're gonna go ahead and start adding the spices in the water. So increase the heat a little bit because we're gonna start adding the water. It's gonna start cooling down. We're gonna go ahead and first start about 2 cups. That should be enough, just enough to barely coat the rice. But I need to extract this saffron on it. So I'll try to get some of it out with my fingers and try to come it out straight. But it's still gonna get some of it stuck in there. So what I'll do is I'll pour a little bit of water in here and make sure I get all that spice out of there. I'm going to put about 2 cups. Mix it in there a little bit, just make sure. Let's sit there. Okay. See how the water just barely covered the rice. We're gonna add maybe a little bit more salt. I only put like a few pinches of salt. Put a little bit more. I didn't put too much. All you need is about 4 pinches. I put only 2 or 3 earlier, so that should be enough salt. But like I said, just put as needed. And to add a little bit of more spice, I'll usually add a little bit of cracked pepper. That should be it. I'm just gonna cover it up. Just put it at medium heat, and it should cook. Alright, I had to put in about half a cup of water. See, it's already done. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn it off. I also put maybe a little bit of butter because it needed a little bit of salt, so I put a little bit of butter also. Keeps it from sticking to you. You see how fluffy it is? So all you do is just turn it off. Try not to mix it too much. So it's already done. This is the finished product. Just plain basmati rice. You could I'll show you some other dishes later down the road on putting some seafood into it. But this is basically very aromatic rice. It's really good. Hopefully you guys will be able to do it at the house. Okay, thank you.